I'd like to introduce Nadav Kidron from Oramed to talk to us a little bit more about the state of diabetes.
Thank you, Sharon. Sharon, I haven't been in LA for a long time, and I remember very clearly last time I was here, because when I walked up to the stage and I said I'm from Jerusalem, someone asked me, are you going to talk like a rabbi or like a bus driver? I said, what do you mean? He said, you don't know? He said, yeah, you see you're wearing a kippah and you're from Jerusalem. I said, I don't know, what are you talking about? So he said, there was a famous rabbi in Jerusalem that after he passed away, he got up to heaven. And what happens is in heaven, they put you, according to how well you did on the ground, they give you your location up there. And he got a pretty good location. He was very comfortable and happy with it. But then one day he looks out and he sees the famous bus driver from Jerusalem that he knew him very well, got a better spot than he got. So the guy got a little bit upset. He said, what's going on here? So he went over and he asked to get an appeal. So with all the bureaucracy, it took a few months. They got back to him and they told him, listen, it's not a mistake. He said, what do you mean? They told him, when you were giving your sermons in your synagogues every Shabbat morning, everybody was asleep. But when this Egged bus driver was driving the hills of Jerusalem, everybody prayed like there's no tomorrow. So I hope I can do something of both over the next 4.5 minutes. Oramed Pharmaceuticals was developed based on 25 years of development at Hadassah Medical Center in Jerusalem. There was a group of scientists at Hadassah Medical Center that tried to work to find a way to deliver insulin orally instead of an injection. Throughout the years, they worked with small companies and bigger companies. And 8 years ago, they had a breakthrough. And this breakthrough made them believe that finally they had a technology that will allow them, so I don't need this, that will allow them to basically take insulin and deliver it orally. It happened to be that the main scientist is my mother, and she was talking to me, and she told me, listen, son, we had a technology breakthrough, and we can do it. So I established Oramed and took the IP out of Hadassah Medical Center into Oramed. Oramed is a publicly traded company today on Nasdaq Capital Market. And what we do is we have a technology that allows us to take injectables and deliver them orally. The flagship product is oral insulin. So let me, over the next very short time, let me just tell you a little bit more about us. The oral insulin now, we're at a very, very interesting point in our development. Exactly 2 weeks from today, Friday, 2 weeks ago, Oramed announced that we got the FDA clearance to start and initiate phase 2 trials here in the United States of America. Now, for those of you who are coming from the high-tech world, let me share with you the news. To get the FDA's clearance is a very, very big deal. What it means is that the FDA is saying, I have no concern about the safety profile of your technology, okay? And I'm letting you go ahead with your trials. So right now, as we talk here in LA, we're starting a trial, the first sub-trial of the phase 2 on diabetics. If there's anyone in the crowd who's an early stage diabetics and wants to take part in the trial, you're welcome to be in touch and join us. And please watch out, because over the next few months, we'll share more news as we progress with this very historical trial. The next product is oral exenatide. The oral exenatide is a drug that has been in existence for a while. What it does for diabetics, it basically allows them to lose weight. And it does so by something that I'm going to share with you, but please make sure it's not going to get out of the room because we are in America. What the drug does is it makes people lose their appetite. And when someone eats less, they actually lose weight. And I know, Mr. Pulver, you discussed about different ways, inhaling, exhaling to lose weight. Don't share this secret with others, because it's not good for our business, and in America they're not aware of it. But it's very simple. If you eat less, you gain less weight. What this drug does, it basically makes you lose your appetite, and then you eat less, and you lose weight. And we're actually now about to start pre-IND also with the FDA with the United States. And again, you have to remember, what we have is a platform technology. We're able to show We know that insulin works. We know the GLP-1 works. And we have the technology to take them and deliver it orally. But the most important point that I want to make, and because we're short of time, I'm just going to touch just basically just to mention a few names. We really have the dream team who's part of us. As you can see, Michael Berelowitz was the senior vice president on Pfizer, which is the biggest pharma company in the world. Gerald Ostrov, he is used to be the CEO of Bausch & Lomb, which is now in the headlines because they're about to be bought out for $9 billion. He's also one of the executives in Johnson & Johnson. I'm skipping because I know we're behind schedule. Jonah Matruda was the number 3 in Merck, developed 2 drugs in diabetes. Avam Hershko is one of the most modest people I've ever met in my life. He's a Nobel Prize winner, a real giant, and a real humble person. Anyone who gets to come to Haifa, to Israel, you're more than welcome to come and meet him. 2 words about the technology. Why is it? Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to skip this because I see we're short on time. So anybody who's interested in understanding more about the technology, you're welcome to visit us at oramed.com and to also get the updates from us as well. Last thing that I just want to touch, and this is very, very important, and this is just practical thing. It's almost like standing and exercising here because this is crucial for all of us. A month ago, there was a study that showed that in New York City, which I understand is a little bit of a different country than California, the number of diabetics is 10.5% of the total population. What it means is that as you get older, the numbers are much higher than that. So if you get to the age of 50, 60, we can get to 20, 30% of the people that suffer from diabetes. But here's the bad news. As we go along with our lives, the numbers are growing and growing. And us as a society, we cannot handle it anymore. We cannot allow ourselves to pay the $500 billion that we pay for diabetes. What we intend to do with the oral insulin is using it not as a patient's compliance advantage that we can give it earlier on in the treatment, but rather to give it earlier on in order to avoid people all the complications. By introducing the oral insulin, we can actually allow people to keep themselves more balanced and for us as a society to draw down the number of patients out there. And again, I'm trying to do this 15 minutes presentation in 5 minutes, which is not, it's not so easy. But I do welcome you. If you want to get more information, as I said, Oramed Pharmaceuticals is a public company here in NASDAQ. There's a lot of things going on over the next few months. So you're welcome to watch us. You're welcome to be in touch with me. I'm still going to be here this morning if you want to hear more information about us. But just to sum it up, we have a technology to deliver injectables orally. We have the dream team that consists of the top scientists and doctors who've been in the field, who came out of the big pharma. We have a very clear proof of concept that we're able to deliver these drugs. And lastly, we are now at the most exciting phase as we're starting our trials with the FDA here in the United States of America. So thank you very much for the time and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's very super interesting of different ways of drug delivery. But before you can take a drug, I think there's something else that has to happen. And Dr. Oren first is going to tell us how we test in the 21st century.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to talk today about the next generation of diabetes management, and it's called Dario. We're talking about fun. We're talking about meshing mobile devices with glucose monitors, something that sounds like a contradiction in terms. So what is diabetes? Just a glimpse into the numbers. More than 350 million diabetics worldwide. Between 10 and 20% of them are injecting insulin on a daily basis, meaning they test themselves for glucose level, glucose concentration in the blood level, at least 3 times a day, creating, at least for us, a initial target market of between 35 to 70 million people. Just a glimpse into the numbers in terms of the revenue potential. This is an existing market of more than $10 billion, growing very rapidly as a result of the fact that People have not internalized the notion of eat less means less gain in weight size, and stress level, which is increasing over time in the Western world. As a result, there is an increased prevalence of diabetics worldwide. As a result, more people are testing themselves, in turn, increasing the market size for what we do. If we look at the glucose monitors in the last few years meaning the 90s through now, not that much have changed. The same antiquated device that all look like the Timex watches from the 70s, just shrinking in size, but all using the same principles. Every diabetic will tell you that he has to walk around with a kit that has the device, has some strips, has a lancing device to enable the pricking, the blood pricking, and they all walk around with these kits, cumbersome kits. All non-aesthetically pleasing. They look of poor quality. They all look alike, and the worst thing, it goes against the ergonomics that we're accustomed to be having when we're holding an iPhone in our hand or an Android phone in our hands. You take that glucose reading, it's captured by the glucose meter, and data is gone. You typically use it in order to adjust your insulin pump or insulin pen if you're an insulin-dependent patient, but typically that data is gone after being captured by the device. So we looked at that market, and we have a few diabetics in our team. Fortunately, I'm not a diabetic, but we have around us in the founding team a few type 2 diabetics and type 1 diabetics. It was designed by diabetics for diabetics from a user experience standpoint. And what we created is a device that will address fully all the obstacles that previous attempts have failed to deliver. For example, connecting an existing glucometer to a smartphone, or connecting a lancing device to an old-style glucometer. So here comes Dario. I don't have audio.
Many people want to know how to use Dario. First of all, you have to have fun, because when you have Dario, nothing holds you back. Your Dario comes with a meter that connects directly to your iPhone and a cartridge containing 25 test strips. Connect the meter to the audio socket on your iPhone and activate the Dario application. It's that easy all once.
Si, senor.
Cha-cha dancer. Pull the strip out of the strip exit port and place it inside the meter. Now, are you ready for the real thing? Roll the lancet. Place your finger here and press here to activate the stereo lancet. Just put your finger on the strip and wait a few seconds. Let our speedy app get to work as it analyzes, compares, and updates your results.
Stop everything! You hate me today when you sit back here playing second fiddle again. Go on.
It has everything you need, from the data entry through the food intake and insulin calculator and up to the event log. Doug, it looks like you've been working out lately. If you want to have a treat, just look for it in your database and you'll have all the information you need. Share results with your doctor? You don't have to go there. Just send them direct, fast, and easy. Simple, comfortable, and elegant. Now, as I already mentioned, with Dario, nothing holds you back.
Mommy, how does he do that? This is silly.
So we're here to talk about a new type of diabetes management, using devices that are compact, simple, beautiful, and are personalized. And that's what Dario is. Dario will start changing the diabetes management landscape, and later on we'll expand into other indications where you have rapid diagnostics on a daily basis, such as blood coagulation for some users, cholesterol testing, and others. But we focused on diabetes initially, a large and growing market. We have a patented technology. We have a device that is the first true all-in-one end-to-end solution, including lancing device, cartridges with strips, apps residing on your iPhone or Android. It's a universal device, regardless of whether you're working on the iPhone or the Android platform. And then a lot of cloud-based services for reminders, alerts, data analysis, insulin recommendations, location-based recommendations for proper food for diabetics, and so on. We're ready to go. We're starting selling in Europe this summer, pending regulatory approval, which is expected in the next few weeks. And we're going to be in the States probably early next year. It's all about fun. It's about changing the way diabetic patients are being handled. They're no longer being patient now with Dario. They're essentially, it's a consumer electronic play that happens to be in the context of diabetes management. And this is what we're going to do to the current regime. So looking at the software bit, it's all about software at the end of the day. The device is ready to go, the app is already ready to go, but what does it make? What does it do? So on top of the glucose reading, you have also food intake that calculates the insulin dosing and allows you for data analysis and reminders and alert to your family members, to your clinician, for your own sake, and so on. A variety of reports personalized over the web, over your iPhone or iPad. And everything is cloud-based as well. Cloud-based means we have the capabilities also to interact with third parties. For example, pharmaceutical industry, medical devices companies, and insurance companies in order to deal with proactive care. Proactive care meaning in order to increase compliance, reduce the overall cost and the overall burden of diabetes complications on the system by using data. A bit on the technology, strip technology, we insisted on being like the gold standard. We insisted on having a very fast response time, very small blood drops, no coding, gold-plated, oxidized biosensors, and a very wide range of results. But what we're really focusing on is the data. We're focusing on the connectivity between the dietitian, physicians, caregivers, the nurses, and the patients in order to provide real-time data, historical, customizable, and analyzed. On the next generations, we're going to have gigantic databases. Effectively, this is another illustration of big data, where we're going to create pattern recognition in order to create personalized regimens for people and groups of people that are similar in their attributes. This is the holy grail of diabetic research, finding the fine-tuning the regimen, the drug regimen, using data. We're all about data here. And talking about data and lookalike patients, what about social interaction? So actually Dario has a lot of social interaction facilities that is enabling patients to communicate with their colleagues, getting tips about life, getting tips about how they should handle their disease. We plan to be in the UK right away after the CE mark, meaning in the next few months. US, as we mentioned, early 2014. Other markets as well. The revenue potential is equivalent to what you have in the telco and business. Subscription models almost, with very high recurring revenue, all covered by insurance companies. So from a patient standpoint, there's no difference, whether they're using the old style devices or the new style devices. From our perspective, it means, based on usability studies show that 90% of the patients would have switched overnight to our device, if available on the market. Realistically speaking, we're not going to have 90% market share overnight, but we definitely will strive to get there. World-class team, but we'll end up with this clip.
Vivian?
Wow, you do that every day?
Just 5 times a day.
Thank you.